up? This is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're going to do today in this episode is we're going to compare two juicers, one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world, so that I could learn, what juicer is best for certain situations, but more importantly, share with you guys how each juicer performs. I'm lucky enough to have 20 juicers on the shelf. I have any one at my disposal any day of the week, and I use them all so that I know how they work, because everybody has different needs, and for some people, the Champion 4000 juicer may be a better machine for you, and for some, the Omega VSJ843 may be a better juicer. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and compare these side by side, explain how they work, how they're the same, how they're different, and all this kind of stuff. Now, before we go any further, I would like to say, if you guys enjoy my educational videos, I would encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at DiscountJuicers.com. This allows me to continue to make these educational videos that I put on YouTube to help make a difference in the world and be the change that I want to see. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into these juicers and the comparison. The Champion 4000 machine is a brand new machine. It just came out 2016. Champion's been making juicers in the United States for over 60 years now. They're probably one of the original juicing companies that made juicers and sold them in the United States. This thing is entirely made in America, so that's definitely a pro. Now, this machine has a 5-year warranty, and this is a single auger masticating juicer running at 1,725 RPMs. So the Champion juicer is the only true masticating juicer on the market, although other companies may say they're masticating. They're not. They're lying. They have their terms mixed up. Masticating means like to chew, and only the Champion juicer has basically some teeth on there that kind of chews up the produce, and that's a good and a bad thing, which we'll get into probably in a little bit. And how it works is simply this. They have a heavy-duty motor base. It's quite heavy. And this unit is similar to the old original Champion, but different at the same time. So this machine has a auger in here. It's a single auger. It's a horizontal auger style machine. So this end is an auger, and then this the first part of this is actually has little teeth on it, and these are actually quite sharp. This is like the original Champion machine had teeth, and then it also had an auger, but a little bit different shape. They've optimized the shape of the auger on the new model. And you should always lube up your shaft before putting the auger on there. So what happens as you put the produce in the feed chute, which is 2 1/4 inches wide at the top, and then it kind of funnels down a little bit smaller. It goes in, it gets ground up, and then the machine is rotating, and then the pulp kind of goes in this auger, and then the auger works on like squeezing it and constricting it in a smaller and smaller space until the juice then gets furled past the screen, which the juice drops out the bottom of the machine, and the pulp comes out the front. And now the pulp kind of shoots out of the front, so they have a special thing here, pulp diverter, that directs the pulp down. So yeah, this is the housing. I like that it's clear, so we're just going to go ahead and install this. And then you have a restrictor on the end. The black one is for juicing. And then we're going to go ahead and put that in there and seal it up. And then we're going to go ahead and put the housing on the auger. And so now we're all ready to go. Now, the Champion 4000 model can juice fruits and vegetables as you see it set up. And it also comes with an additional green auger that is designed for specifically juicing wheatgrass and other leafy greens. So that's going to be more efficient than the original Champion was on those products. Not to mean that that's more efficient than other juicers on the market, but it's more efficient than the original Champion. So I'm going to soon test the Champion versus, a horizontal single auger juicer juicing leafy greens to see if the Champion is better or not, which I kind of have an opinion on what's going to happen on that. But yeah, so this works on a higher speed masticating setup. First grinding, then pressing out the juice. And then the Omega VSJ, on the other hand, Omega's been in the juicing business, US owned company, started 30 years ago, over 30 years ago now, and they were producing juicers in America at first, and now they're getting them built to their high quality specifications overseas. So this machine is made in Korea, whereas that one is made in America. But this one has a 15-year warranty, so that's 3 times the warranty of the Champion. And on the Champion, things like the blade assembly may have up to a 1-year warranty. So the blade assembly on a Champion is a wearable part, and on the Omega VSJ, as we'll see, it's a non-wearable part because there are no blades to go dull. So let's go ahead and take this apart and explain how it works. So this one has a feed chute. It's probably a little bit wider than this one, but not quite as fat, because this is a circle and this is more like a crescent kind of shape. And then how this one works is you put the produce in the chute, it goes down, and then basically this auger has 2 little wings on it, and that kind of like, as you put the produce in there, basically chunks off pieces, and then basically this auger is spinning and it smushes the produce, you know, tighter and tighter until it literally squeezes out the juice out. So this like it doesn't really grind, it more like crushes and squeezes out the juice, whereas this one grinds and then squeezes, right? And this is happening at a low 43 revolutions per minute, where that's happening at 1,725 RPM. So that's like 36 times more fast, or maybe even, I don't know, 40, I don't know, so 50 times fast, I don't know, whatever. But that's happening a lot faster. So based on the research and the data I've seen, you know, juices made with a slower moving auger and less friction and heat as generated by the masticating system in the Champion, you know, produces not as good quality juice. So the lower speed machines, based on the data I've seen, you know, produce a higher quality juice with higher amounts of things like phytochemicals and phytonutrients, which are the most important things that I want to get into my body. I mean, juices will have vitamins and minerals, but the phytonutrients and phytochemicals, these are the most disease protective and health enhancing properties of foods. And when you start eating animal foods in excess and processed foods and junk foods, they don't have these phytonutrients. And that's why juicing is so powerful, because it literally allows you to concentrate the discovered and yet undiscovered phytonutrients and phytochemicals in the amazing fruits and vegetables. I mean, there's phytochemicals in broccoli that they have shown to be anti-cancer. Don't you want to eat anti-cancer foods? I mean, people are eating foods that promote cancer, fast foods and junk foods and animal foods in excess. So let's at least balance that out. If you're not going to get rid of those foods, which I would encourage you to do, or at least minimize those, but increase the amount of disease-fighting foods, you know, that you could get by juicing fruits and vegetables and getting the highest quality juice out of that. Because even if you're spending the top dollar on organic produce and you're juicing in a juicer that runs at a high speed, you may get up to 50% less of some of the certain phytonutrients and phytochemicals. Alright, so that's the auger, and then here's the screen on this machine. So the screen, frankly, is the most difficult piece on any juicer to clean. So as you guys can see, the screen area is actually much more on the VSJ843 than the Champion. The VSJ843 screen is a lot easier to get into because it's a lot larger. This machine takes me approximately 3 minutes to clean, and the Champion, I don't know, it's probably maybe 3 to 5 minutes, just because I got to get in with a long tool to scrub out the screen. But it's fairly similar, so not too hard to clean. The other thing that this machine has that the Champion does not have is an automatic wiping blade. So what this does, as the machine is running, this automatic wiping blade spins around on the screen here and wipes the screen clean, also wipes the housing clean there, so you get all the juice coming out in your glass. This also prevents the screen from clogging up too badly, so you're going to get higher yields. I wish the Champion actually had some kind of feature like this, because I have seen on the Champion where the screen does get full of pulp. Now the other thing that I really want to mention is that, you know, Omega has taken the time to make sure they got the screen right. This screen, I mean, it may just look like a screen with holes in it, but I mean, they go over with a fine-tooth comb testing different hole sizes. You know, hey, what if we use this size versus this size? We make it this size. And they've done a really good job at getting the proper hole size so that the screen doesn't get impacted or clogged up with pulp and produces a nice juice with, you know, a little pulp in the juice. Because I know some of you guys like that, some of you guys don't. So yeah, this runs at a low RPM versus a much higher RPM. And then this is the juicing bowl on this machine. There is a little flap on here that you always need to unplug when cleaning, and you're going to always want to make sure it's plugged in. It's a silicone flap. You want to make sure it's plugged in when you're juicing, and the job of this flap is to keep some back pressure on the produce to keep it inside the machine to get it fully wrung out before it's ejected. This machine also has a built-in flap here, and this allows you to do mixing in the machine and also will prevent drips on your countertop, which I appreciate a lot. I don't generally use it for mixing in the machine because that may reduce your yields, but I do use it after I'm done juicing so that I don't get drips all over my counter, something the Champion actually doesn't have, which would be a good idea to add to it. So let's go ahead and assemble this machine. So they're both fairly easy to assemble. So now I'm all ready to juice, and what I'll be juicing today are these guys. These guys are Armenian cucumbers. These are some of my favorite cucumbers to juice because, number one, they're so large. I like large cucumbers in my juice. They create a lot of juice, and also they're very sweet and they don't have a bitter skin like most cucumbers do. So these were from a local farm here, and I also grow them myself. But if you guys can't find the Armenians, I do encourage you guys to grow them yourself because it is kind of like an heirloom. But if you can't find these, then you could pick up some local or store-bought English cucumbers. They're about as juicy and about as good, but not quite as sweet as these guys. So what we have here is we have pre-weighed out and pre-prepared. So I've been cutting and weighing these guys out. And we have approximately 67 ounces in each container here. So as you guys can see, we have an even fight between the Champion and the Omega VSJ843. Now before I get into the actual juice off, I want to share with you guys a few more things about the machines. So, you know, just like cars will get you from point A to point B, so will the juicers. The juicers will actually just juice your fruits and vegetables for you, but each one does it a little bit differently, much like different brands of cars. You know, they'll all get you from point A to point B. Some will get you there in style, some will have more safety and more comfort and all this kind of stuff. And they're different. Does that mean one's better or worse than the other? Well, it depends on your specific needs. You know, if you want a car, you know, that's really good gas mileage, you might want to get a Prius or something like that. But if you want to go there in luxury, I don't know, what are you going to get these days? A Mercedes-Benz or BMW? Well, yeah, same thing with the juicers, you know, they're all work a little bit different. So anyways, with this guy, we're going to turn it on. This guy runs at 43 revolutions per minute, and it's actually quite silent. It's pretty quiet. It's one of the most quiet juicers. This one runs at 1,725 RPM. Let's turn this on. As you guys can see, it's a lot more loud. So, you know, for some of you guys that are sound sensitive, you might want to get the VSJ843. I guess what I'd like to do now is we're going to go ahead and juice in each of the machines, and we're going to go ahead and put a stopwatch on for you guys so you guys could actually see the time as it's elapsed in the juicer. So first, we're going to juice in the Champion. Let me go ahead and hit the start on the stopwatch, and we're just going to go ahead and turn this machine on and get started. Alright, so I'm juicing the Champion, and I'm getting a lot of like some back spray, and I gotta constantly keep the pressure on the machine. That's due to the high spinning blades tend to kick some stuff back up at you. We're gonna go ahead and continue. Alright, I think we're down to our last piece in the Champion. Put it right in there. Shove that right in. Oh, we got some extra juice, so we're going to go ahead and pour that guy in there. that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and hit stop. Looks like it took 4 minutes, 4.75 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and reset. And we're going to go ahead and turn this champion off. And it looks like we made, I don't know, just roughly 3.5 cups of juice so far. A lot of foam in there. We're going to compare the juice at the end for you guys. Next, let's go ahead and juice in the Omega VSJ843. Different story on this guy. Instead of having to use a pusher, actually, it's best actually if you don't use a pusher on the VSJ, because if you are using the pusher, you may be feeding in things too fast. And if you don't use a pusher in the Champion, it's simply not going to work. So let's go ahead and hit start, and let's get juicing. I like that the VSJ is literally auto feeding. You stick it in there, it keeps chunking off pieces so that you don't have to push it in. Sometimes you may need a little bit of a help though. Alright, down the last piece on the VSJ. Looks like our catch container is almost overflowing, so I'm glad it's the last piece. I was kind of worried, like, man, we're going to have too much juice in the VSJ. Alright, we got a little bit of the water and the seeds. We're going to pour that bad boy in there. And now it's very important, you know, when using any juicer, after you put the last produce item in, let it run a little bit longer, especially on the vertical slow juicers. You know, once the pulp pretty much stops moving, then you know the machine is finished. And it looks like the pulp is still going, so we're going to let that run a little bit because I think there's still some juice coming out. You know, the machine is not as instant of a juicer as is the Champion. You know, the item you put in there might be juiced, I don't know, 15 seconds after the time you put it in there, because it has to make its way down the auger, get literally crushed and squeezed out. So yeah, there's no measurements on this container, but what we're going to do is go ahead and turn this machine off. And let me clean up some of this mess, and we're going to share with you guys the pulp and the juice that was created in both machines. And then I'll get to declare the winner of this juice off comparison. Alright, so I forgot to stop the the timer there. So it's currently at 4 minutes, so I'm going to say it's probably like 3 minutes and 3.75 minutes, so it probably took about a minute less in the VSJ, which with much less hassle, because literally I just drop things in there with the Champion. You know, I got some exploding juice all over. So yeah, less time in the slow juicer compared to the fast juicer, and that's a change. So now let's see what we got. We're going to go ahead and take the pulp from the Omega VSJ843 over on this side. And you guys could pretty much see that. I mean, it looks like pretty much just pulp. It's pretty heavy. And over on the Champion side, I don't know if you guys could see that on the bottom of the Champion side. There's basically like liquid in the pulp. So, you know, good indicator. We could go ahead and take a handful of this pulp and squeeze it out. And you'll see a few drops. You know, this is not 100% efficient. You could always put this pulp back through the machine. Actually, either pulp through either machine, and you'll get a second pressing. Sometimes on the VSJ, it may not totally eject out depending on the softness of the pulp, so then I would recommend juicing it with something hard like a carrot, which will help it eject and get the extra liquid out of this one. Now over on the Champion side, if we take some of this pulp, look at this. I mean, I'm not even squeezing it yet and it's just dripping. Look, now I'm squeezing. Look at all that juice. We're losing juice because this pulp is so wet. Maybe I'll actually run this pulp through the VSJ to see how much more juice that I could get out. So, you know, number one, I definitely am saying that the VSJ is more efficient just based on the pulp, unless the Champion did something miraculous. So we got the same exact measuring cups here. And we got the same exact strainers, because I want to, it's only going to be a fair comparison if we take out the pulp that was created and the foam, because both juicers did make some foam and the pulp. Let's see here, if we tip this Champion up, any more juice in there? Alright, so let's go ahead and pour this guy out. Oops. Uh-oh, spilling the juice. About to give the Champion a little bit of extra juice since I spilled some. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and take the VSJ juice, and I'm going to try not to spill it here. Oh, spilling it. Alright. I think I probably spilled the same amount on both machines. Gotta pour fast. Alright, I spilled on both, pouring. And let's go ahead and strain this guy out and see what we got. We'll shake them both down. Alright, so after straining out, I don't know if you guys could see that. Probably the better indicator is actually looking instead of the top of the strainer like I was showing you, is to show you guys the bottom of the strainer. You guys could see that. You could see easily that the Champion had more dark areas, which means there was more pulp. I'd maybe estimate maybe twice as much pulp in the Champion than in the VSJ. And now let's go ahead and do a close-up on the yields of both machines. It definitely looks like the VSJ took the cake, or made the cucumber juice in this case. Alright, so now for a close-up on the juice. As you guys could see on the Omega VSJ side, looks like we have, there's the 4 cups, 1 quart line, and then it's actually above that, and then we have like a separation layer. I mean, that goes up even further. So I don't know the exact total, because my container doesn't go that high. Over on the Champion side, a little bit different story. Let's see here, probably overall, looks like we're probably right at 28 ounces. And over on the, once again, the VSJ, you know, I'd say it's probably a good, man, I'm gonna probably guess like 38 ounces, like 10 extra ounces. In addition, I want to show you guys this. Can you guys see the color difference? I mean, I could see the color difference. I don't know how, you know, HD the camera is, but the juice on the Omega VSJ is a little bit lighter, and the juice on the Champion is a little bit darker. So why is the juice from the Champion juicer darker? That's a good question. So in some of the Champion advertising, it says, you know, the juice made with the Champion is darker because it's has more nutrition in it, because the Champion really gets in there, grinds up the stuff, and extracts more nutrition. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is because this is running at a higher speed, it's basically breaking up the fibers, breaking open the cell walls of what is being juiced, and it's exposing it to high-speed air because it's running at 1,725 RPMs. So it's bombarding it with air. And much like if you cut an apple open, you know, it starts to turn brown. That's the oxidation occurring. So there's a color change. So carrot juice, for example, gets darker. Does cucumber juice get darker also? You know, that's a good question. It's my personal opinion that that's what's happening, and that's why the Champion juicer juice is darker versus the Omega VSJ juice. So yeah, that's what I think. Next, we're going to go ahead and do a taste test. So we're going to go ahead and first taste the VSJ juice. I'll let you guys know if I can taste a discernible difference. As you guys can see, this is a pretty nice and light green color. Yeah, after we strained it out, I mean, this is just like drinking pure water. And that's what it is, literally. Juice is 100% purified water from the cucumber plant in a structured, alkalinized way. And not only are you getting structured, alkaline-rich water, you're also getting the vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. This is what we should be bathing all our cells in. For all the cells of our body, our cells love it. Anyways, my cells love it. Man, give me some cucumber juice over water any day of the week. Living water, amazing. Alright, now let's go ahead and try the Champion juice. Yeah, look at that, you know, it's just a little bit more dark. And it also, there's, you know, some more sediment in there. Yeah, I taste the difference. So the VSJ juice had a more clean juice, you know, or water-like flavor, like really like just really smooth, just kind of tasted like water. Now when I'm drinking the Champion juice, it's tough to say. I don't know if I'm tasting like more particulate or like aeration. It's not quite as like clean. And if you guys have ever had a cold pressed juice from like Norwalk juicer or your cold pressed juice bar, the VSJ juice to me tastes more like a cold pressed juice than this Champion juice. I can't exactly discern like if it's aerated or there's fine particulate in there, but it doesn't taste as crisp and refreshing, if I just could put it into words. It's really hard to describe. I don't know, it just doesn't, maybe it doesn't taste as sweet. That's another thing. So I'm not exactly sure why this is occurring, but it's probably due to the way the juice is extracted. You know, on the VSJ it uses a much gentler approach. I mean, think about it. The Champion juicer is still using technology that's like 60 years old, and they've upgraded it for 2016, but it's still the grinding, you know, and it's pressing out the juice. Oh, and the screen, look at the screen, man. That's pretty telling there. Actually, I want to show this to you guys really quick. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull this out, pull the screen out of the Champion here. Alright, see the screen on there? Look at the screen. It's just covered in pulp, man. This is likely reducing the yield because the pulp is just literally gunked up in there. Now let's take a look at the pulp, or at this screen from the Omega VSJ843. Okay, take this machine apart, and you know there's going to be some residual pulp inside the machine, and especially in the bottom of the auger on the VSJ. That's completely normal. But let's go ahead and take out the screen of the VSJ and show you guys this. Alright, so comparison. Look at the screen difference, right? This screen, yeah, okay, yeah, there's some particulate in there, but there's very little. On the Champion screen, there's a lot of just crudted in there pulp. And that's likely because it doesn't have that automatic wiping blade. If it had that automatic wiping blade, this piece here, the screen would likely be less clogged, and it'd likely get more yield. Now, would that be enough to make up the extra 10 ounces of juice that we made in the VSJ? I don't think so. Just due to this is not really fully squeezing out. It needs a better restrictor, in my opinion, at the end, and maybe a better way to squeeze out the juice. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much this juice off. And I'm going to have to declare the winner of this juice off. I mean, this one is just hands down, clearly, the Omega VSJ843, like, kicked butt over the Champion. I mean, this machine costs more money, but for that, you're going to get higher yields. You know, what percentage? I don't know, maybe 30% more. This case was about 30% more. You're also going to get 3 times the warranty. So instead of 5 years, you're going to get 15 years. And you're going to get a higher quality juice based on my opinions, and I mean a better tasting juice, and overall, I mean, I personally believe that the VSJ843 is a better juicer. I mean, it was more recently invented. I mean, it's newer technology than the Champion, and I want to encourage every juicer manufacturer out there to up their game. Even Omega, as good as this one is, they could make it better. Champion could make theirs better, and you know, if the juicer companies keep making better juicers, guess who wins? We all win, because so we could get a higher quality juice, we could get more juice out of our expensive organic produce, and then they'll win. They'll sell more machines if they have the most superior machine. So that's what I hope for the whole juicing industry. No matter who makes the juicer, I don't care. I'll just sit here and test them and let you guys know the results. And unfortunately, there's very few, if any, other people on YouTube making these kinds of videos to share with you guys what really happens when you juice identical produce items in the juicer, and also give commentary and explain how the machines work so that you guys can get the best for you. If you're hell-bent on getting a machine made in America, then get the Champion. But know this, you're going to get less yield, you're going to have this clogged screen, you know, when you juice cucumbers, other produce items may vary, but based on how this is operated when I have used it and how the VSJ operates, I think overall I could confidently say that the VSJ is going to get a higher yield. So winner of this juice off, Omega VSJ843. That's the one to get if you want to juice cucumbers like I did today. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I want to encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. I want to thank you guys that have made your purchase there and helped supported me. And I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys that are going to make your purchase there in the future, because that allows me to continue to make these videos to buy my produce so I can make the juice so I can drink it and then share with you guys what happens so that you guys can get the best juicer for you, because manufacturers simply are going to tell you to buy their machine. I'm an independent third party and I juice every day myself, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day myself in my personal kitchen, and I use these machines. So I'm not just trying to sell you a juicer, I'm trying to sell you the best juicer for you based on somebody that actually uses the juicers and experiences them each and every day in his life, because it is one of the most important things I've done for my health. I've been able to maintain my weight now for over 20 years. I'm healthier. This is some of the best anti-aging and anti-disease foods on the entire planet, the fruits and vegetables, and by juicing them, you can increase the quantity you're getting compared to the average guy, which is not getting enough, so that you can have outstanding health. Also be sure to check the links down below to be linked directly to the Discount Juicers website to purchase the VSJ and learn more about it, or purchase and learn more about the Champion 4000. Also be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 450 episodes now comparing all the different juicers to one another, and I'm constantly making new videos every 5 to 7 days, and that's why you're going to want to hit that subscribe button right down below to be notified of my new and upcoming episodes. Also be sure to share this video with somebody that you think is needing help selecting the right juicer for them. This will clearly show you the winner between these two machines. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what I'm going to do in this episode is share with you guys the best way to get more vegetables in you. So congratulations, if you clicked on this video, you probably don't like vegetables or don't like them too much, and maybe even hate them. But you know that they are beneficial and that you should be getting more into. So before I share with you guys... So man, this pulp here, it's so wet, it's like really bothering me, because I normally use the VSJ in my kitchen. And so I gotta just throw it through the VSJ to see like what's gonna happen. If it's gonna back up, if it's the VSJ is gonna extract more juice, and how much juice it's gonna extract. Look at that, man. The VSJ is taking the Champion pulp and even getting more juice out of it. Man, this stuff is quite wet. Alright, so I fed all the pulp into the VSJ. Looks like it's working on it slowly. It's having a hard time getting some of it through. Looks like we're pretty much kind of like clogged up. It'd be helpful at this point to like feed in some celery or carrot if the pulp is not going all the way through, because sometimes a juicer is not designed to rejuice the pulp, man. It's designed to juice like fruits and vegetables that have like, hard fiber that it could actually break up. So when it's doing this, not really designed for it, but it kind of does it. It looks like there's still a little bit of pulp left in here, but I think we'll go with what we got. Oh wow, and this pulp that's coming out now the second time through, really dry. We could probably even rejuice the VSJ pulp, get a little bit more out, but not as much as this. So let's go ahead and turn this guy off and see how much extra juice we got here. Alright, so we got a measuring cup here. Let's see, ounces on this side, or cups. Oh my god, that's insane. So we're over full, we still have a little bit left here. And in here, looks like we got over 1.5 cups more, so additional 12 ounces. Hey, I think that was like about the difference between them originally. So yeah, VSJ for the win, and that's why the VSJ sits on my counter, and that's the juicer I use on a daily basis.